Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a 10 frame migratory top using a 1x12 by 8 foot from the hardware store. This one I already cut to length, and it's 16 1/4. Needs to be 16 1/4 wide. I'm going to have to trim a little bit off. I'll show you that in a minute. And then by 20.75 long. And here's my plans that I already made up. So here's the 10 frame, and you can see cut lid 16 1/4 by 20.75. So that's what we're going to do right now. This is already joined. If you don't have a drum sander, you can use a belt sander or plane to try to smooth that down. Otherwise it's probably fine the way it is. I'm gonna run it through the drum sander after I cut it to length, but for right now I need to cut off, looks like I'm just shy of 16 3/4, so I'm gonna cut off about 1/2 of an inch from the end here just to get that down to the correct width, because a migratory top is going to be the same width as the hive body so that you can scoot them up next to each other. And then the length is 20.75, and we're there on that already. And you'll have a little bit of overhang on the length, as you can see in this close-up image here. This is kind of a cut of one end to the side. So this would be the length. This is your top piece. And then what we're going to do is put a little rail cap on each end, and then a top cap. And then these are going to be the shims, which you can choose to leave out or add. And then this one is going to be 18.75 and 16.25. So the length is 18.75, and that's up here. L1 18.75, L2 16.25. So the L2 runs across the width of the hive body, the top, and then the S1 fills the space in between each S2 piece, which comes out to about 18.75. Okay, I've got my table saw set up already for 16 1/4. So I'm going to trim the end of this top across the length to get the width down to 16 1/4. Alright, now we have our top cut to length. So the next part is going to be working on the rails, the top piece, and the shims. Alright, so this is the first piece we're going to cut, is the end rail here. 2 of those, and those are 3/4 inch thick. This is a 1x4 piece that I'm going to cut down to 3 inches wide and 16 1/4 inches in length. So I'm doing the length right now on a miter saw. And if you don't have that, you can use a table saw, circular saw, hand saw. But we're basically at 16 1/4. My stop there. I'm gonna cut 2 pieces at this length. Okay, now we've got our two rail pieces. We're going to cut those down now to 3 inches. All right, got my table saw set up now for a 3-inch wide piece. Now I'm going to cut each of these rail pieces down. Okay, I'm going to cut these grooves that are going to mount to the end of the top piece using a router table. I've got a 3/4 inch router bit, and that's because the top piece is 3/4 inches thick. It'll be a little bit less after drum sanding it. So the groove that I'm about to cut is going to be 3/4 of an inch down and 3/4 of an inch wide. And then the 3/4 inch down is so that the top cap piece, it's about a 3/4 inch piece, so that'll make those reasonably flush together. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that now. Alright, so there's our groove, and just as I said, that's gonna mount to the end of the table. So that's kind of how we're looking at it right there. Gonna go ahead and cut that other one the same way. And there we have it. That's the cap piece for the other end, and it'll be something like that. Okay, now I'm going to cut the top rail, which is labeled T here in this diagram. And that piece for 10 frame is going to be 3/4 inches thick, 1 3/4 inches wide, and the same 16 1/4 inches long, since it goes across the width of the hive body. And this one I just ripped a 1x4 in half, since they're not actually 4 inches, and that left me with about the 1 3/4 that we need. And we're going to go ahead and cut that now. Go ahead and cut the other one the same way. Okay, so now we have the main pieces for the top that we're going to need. We've got the 2 end caps that are going to go here and on the other end, and then the top piece, top rail, which is going to go right there. I'll go ahead and dry fit that just to show you. So there's the end cap and then the top piece, and then in a second I'm going to put some glue on it and nail everything down. But that's basically what we're going to have for the one side. All right, we're going to go ahead and glue this channel now, and then put it on the end of our top, And I like this because that covers up that exposed end grain and protects it from the elements. Just put a little dab of glue in there. I'm going to choose this for the outside since it has less knots. Okay. And then get my nail gun, and I drew a line on here just so I don't have to worry about where I'm nailing. So once I get the nail gun, we'll put some nails in there to secure it, and then we'll add the top rail as well. Okay, got the nail gun ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and hit this a few times, square it up a little bit. And that should be good for that. That's not going to go anywhere, especially once that glue dries. So now let's put some on our top rail. And we'll just slide that right on. Square it up. And that's all it takes. Do the other side the same way. And just make sure here that you've got it facing the right way. Should have drawn my lines first, but not a big deal. Just an approximation. All right. There we go. And now for the cap. And there we have it. Next step we'll do is put the shims in if you want those. Just adds a little space for the pollen patties, any sugar blocks that you put in the top. Just gives the bees a little extra space. Okay, I already had a 16 1/4 and a 18 3/4 piece cut. They're 3/4 inches wide, 1/2 inch thick. But I'm going to go ahead and cut some more since I need 2 of each, not 1 of each. So here's my 2 pieces, the 16 1/4 on top and the 18 3/4 on the bottom. I already have the table saw set up for 1/2 inch thick, so we're going to cut that now. Okay, now we've got all our shim pieces cut, so it's time to install them. Okay, I've got my 4 shim pieces ready to go. So now we got 2 that are going to go across the length, and then the 16 1/4, which are going to go across the width. So I'm just going to dry fit those up, make sure everything's good, nothing needs to be trimmed. And if not, then we're ready to glue and nail those into place. Yeah, everything looks perfect. So that's basically what it's going to look like. Just give them a little extra space up top. So we'll glue those down now and set them into place. You may not be able to see this one since that lip is blocking it, but you should be able to see all the rest. Just a little stream of glue kind of seals things off. Got some bees buzzing around me. They're coming out for a warm day, gathering, looks like mostly gathering water. Alright, got those set in place. So now we're going to nail them down. And there we have it. Our top is now complete, aside from being painted, wax dipped, however you like to do it. Yeah, I'll go ahead and show you how it fits on. Slide it right on a 10 frame box. See, it's the same width as the box. Center it up. And then the length, there's a little bit of overhang on the length. You may want to adjust accordingly, but I like to have a little bit of length. And those bees they'll fasten the top down, so it's not going to go anywhere when they properly sit up. And there you have it.